All right, so to everyone, I believe most of you should be freshmen. We may have a few sophomores here as well, but welcome to the Career Center. This is our first workshop in our first year #FYP for your professional development series. So we have a new marketing coordinator who came up with the #FYP, and I thought it was very clever, so we're running with it. And today we're just going to give you an introduction to our office, who we are, what we have to offer, and what you could gain from engaging with us in our services and events. And let's see here. If you don't mind, I'm going to keep the presentation. I'm not going to project the presentation just because I'm going to be switching between this and Handshake so that you could see what things look like on Handshake in real time. So just as a side note there. But starting off, meeting the Career Center team. So I'm one member of our Career Center team. So my name is Allison Blatz. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Engagement here. I obviously work in engaging students with our office, and I am also the advisor of our Fordham Career Ambassador program, which I'll be getting to a little bit later in the presentation. But as you can see here, we have a lot of faces. So we have 9 full-time staff members here at Rose Hill. We have 2 teams here. So the student engagement team, which is the team that I belong on, and then the employer relations team. Our employer relations team, as it sounds, they engage with employers and try to get people for our employers on campus for coffee chats, info sessions, and for our career fairs. And then we have 3 people over at LC, which includes an alumni specialist. And we also will be hiring 1 more person over there. So I'm not sure if we have any LC students, but on this list, we have Jerry, Bia, and Kevin, who are currently at LC. So those are people who you would refer to at that campus. And then our mission here at the Career Center is to engage and challenge Fordham students to grow both personally and professionally by providing career education resources, internship and career opportunities, and life planning skills that concentrate on the values, interests, and needs of the whole person. So basically helping you all hopefully to find jobs and internships during your time at college, but also while committing to the mission of Cura Personalis. And the primary means through which we execute this mission here at the Career Center is through Handshake. So from a raise of hands in person, and then if you want to raise your hand virtually as well, who here has heard of Handshake or is somewhat familiar with Handshake? Okay, all in-person people, we got a few virtual. Awesome. Okay, so a lot of you are familiar with Handshake, so hopefully I won't have to give too broad of a definition here, but Handshake is an online career hub that gives you access to job and internship postings, career fairs, and employer events. So they have 20,000 plus internships posted on Handshake, and it represents over 20 different industries. So you'll hopefully not fall short of finding an opportunity there. And this is where I want to just shift over to Handshake right now. So this is what Student Handshake looks like. I'm actually going to do something a little embarrassing for myself right now. I'm going to show you what my profile looked like. So in addition to working here now, I actually graduated from FCLC back in 2020. I was in recruiting for 2 years and then came back here. But this was my profile back when I was a senior at Fordham College Lincoln Center. It's not the most stellar, so I wouldn't take notes on this. However, I just wanted you to see what the profile section looks like. So that's your upper right-hand corner. And it's really important when you start on Handshake. I think a lot of the times, especially first-year students, when they start on Handshake, they want to start looking for jobs and internships, but they don't want to complete their profile because they feel that any experience that they've had post-college or pre-college, whether it be babysitting experience or retail experience or service experience, isn't worthy enough of being put on their profile. And number one, it is. Transferable skills are transferable. So it's really important that you market that information about yourself because recruiters and hiring managers are 5 times more likely to engage with your profile if it is fully complete. So obviously, first things first, setting that up. You could put a little headshot here. Most of the other stuff is pretty filled out for you. So your name, your university, your major. You could put a My Journey section. So as a freshman, that could simply be who you are. I'm a freshman at Fordham College of Rose Hill, pursuing a degree in anthropology. These are the fields and industries that I'm interested in. And these are the skills that I've developed so far in my experience that would make me, relevant or an ideal candidate for these types of roles. So it could be a simple, short 2 to 3 sentences, but just a small, brief summary about you. If you scroll down here, obviously you have your work and volunteer experience section, your organization and extracurricular section. Once you start getting involved in student clubs and organizations, you're going to want to populate that area, but it might be a little bit sparse for now, which is okay. You could put relevant courses. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you could also put different documents. So your resume, your transcript, your CV, etc. There also, I believe I had not added any projects, but if there are particular projects that you want to add, if you've written an impressive paper or you know a certain computer language and you want to put a project that you worked on through that on here, you could do that as well. But something also very important to do when you're setting up your Handshake profile is to indicate your interests. So these interests are only viewable to employers. And as you can see, it just shows what type of opportunities you're interested in. So as freshmen, a lot of it's going to be part-time or internship opportunities. At the time when I was a senior, I was looking for full-time jobs post-college. So that was what was there. The cities in which you're looking for an internship or part-time opportunity. So obviously you're going to be looking for that here in New York if you're looking during the school year. However, if you are not originally from New York and maybe you're looking for some summer internship in your hometown, hello, welcome. Feel free to sign in here, and we've just started with reviewing Handshake, so you're not missing too much. But if you have if you want to get an internship or part-time opportunity in your hometown, you could also put that there as well. And then the roles and industries that you're interested in. Yeah, you're just gonna have to really, perfect. There you go. So that is a little bit about building out your Handshake profile. So from the get-go, first things first, completing your Handshake profile and making sure it's really robust and detailed is very important. And then going back to our presentation here, well, actually, I'll stay on Handshake just so you could see everything in real time. So this Career Center tab on the left-hand corner, very important. First thing you could do with it is you can make an appointment. So let's say you want to figure out how to craft your first resume, you've scored an interview and you want to do a mock interview or get interviewing tips, or you're looking to come to one of our upcoming career fairs and you want to know how you can approach that situation and network with employers. You could hit appointments here, schedule a new appointment, and then you'll be able to choose a category that you want to cover. So let's just say resume and cover letters. That's one of our big categories here. I want to do it as, let's say I am a recent grad. You'll see here all the people, so no one else has appointments today, but I'm sure if you go into next week, there'll be people who have appointments. So let's see what is available. But basically, all of our staff, I probably should have said this when I was introducing our team, all 9 of our staff members here and 3 of our staff members at LC serve as career counselors. So all of our calendars are open to take appointments with you all. So that's how you would create an appointment here if you ever needed professional development advice and wanted to do that on an individualized one-on-one basis. So that is the appointment section. Also, if anyone has any questions in the meantime, in person or online, feel free to raise your hand and I'd be happy to answer them because I know I'm giving a lot of information. The next thing that you could find here is our events. So if you go to the events tab, you could see our upcoming career fairs. Next week, September 13th, we have our accounting and finance fair. The next day we have our tech, cybersecurity and computer and data science fair. Usually we center our career fairs around the recruiting timelines of specific industries. So accounting and finance firms right now are in full recruiting mode for their summer positions, hence why we're doing this career fair. However, in the spring, we also illustrate under other industries. So we have our nonprofit fair, communications and media fair, et cetera. So if you don't see an industry represented right now, yes, question here.
So if you're like a first year, should you be attending these fairs and stuff, even though you don't really have any resume experience or anything like that? And you're probably not going to get an internship like your freshman year.
Yeah.
Is it like too soon?
Sure. So for those on online who may not have heard that question, it's basically, should you attend a career fair as a first year student? I would always say yes. And the reason is, one, you could set up an appointment with us to craft a resume beforehand. Actually, we'll be having a fall internship fair in October. So you all will have at least a month to craft a resume in between now and then. And I think that's probably the most appropriate career fair for you all to attend. And I think that career fairs are a good place to start for freshmen because one, you could get feedback on your resume. So you could bring your resume to employers and you could be really transparent. Hi, I'm a first year student. This is the first resume I've ever made, but I'm really interested in this industry or this company. And I love your feedback on this, on my resume and what I could include to make it better. It's also a great way just to network. Employers will remember if you came, if you had an engaging conversation with them, if you sent a thank you note afterwards. So it's very important for the sake of just maintaining and fostering those long-term connections that you're going to want to utilize once you are an upperclassman and looking for either like an internship that you have to get for credit or that you want to get or for full-time opportunity. So definitely attend our career fairs for the purpose of networking. And I think tomorrow we're having our How to Prepare for a Career Fair workshop. We have those workshops always right before our career fairs, usually like the week before. So we send out like frequent emails about those. So definitely feel free to attend that as well. That'll be in this room tomorrow at 11:30, I believe. But yeah, so anyways, these are where you'll find things like career fairs, the event tab. So if you click on a career fair here, obviously you could register. I think I had registered yesterday. I wanted to see what it looked like when it came to my email, but it usually doesn't say this. You click register. You could also see all the employers that are attending the fair. So let's say you were interested, for example, in attending our accounting and finance fair. You could see some of the employers, and you could even choose to tailor your resume to either what their mission is or what roles they currently have. So it's good for this purpose too. You could do your research beforehand because you know everyone who is going to be there, and you could kind of anticipate questions that you want to ask and things that you want to cover with the employers. So this is just our career fairs that you could find on events. And thankfully, Handshake has added these subsections now. You used to have to type for everything, but now they have these different subsections to help you out. Then we have Career Center employer events. So in this section, you'll find all employer related events. So employers will often come to our campus to give information sessions. So I know actually today and right now, PwC is doing an information session on their company. So information sessions are basically companies come, they tell you about their mission, their vision, current projects they're working on, their recruiting timelines and application deadlines, and what open opportunities they currently have. So it's a good way to kind of learn more about the company, and then also, again, doing more intimate networking because the employers will be right there and you'll be able to ask them questions after the info session. Pardon me. The other thing is also tabling events. So usually employers will come and table in, main space areas like the McShane Gallery space here or in Keating, and they'll talk to students kind of about their open opportunities. That's a great way to just get promotional materials from them, maybe get, their business card, and be able to talk to employers in a really relaxed setting. And then finally, we also have our coffee chats on here. So employers will host coffee chats right in our interview rooms over here. So to everyone who's online who can't see, at the Career Center, we have one wall of just interview rooms. You could also book those interview rooms if you're actually having an interview in the near future and you want to reserve that space there, you can. But employers will come in for coffee chats, which is basically an informal conversation with an employer where they're kind of reviewing your resume, reviewing your experience, seeing what aligns. It's not necessarily an interview, but it could become an interview. So usually after those conversations, they'll keep your resume on file. And if they have open roles in the future and they find that you're applicable, they'll reach back out to you. So coffee chats, information sessions, tabling events are all under Career Center employer events. And then finally, I believe here, so Career Center guidance events, that's like workshops like these. This is a professional development workshop. Like I said in the beginning of this presentation, this is our first year #FYP workshop in that series. And so you'll be able to find those types of workshops here. You'll also find our tabling events here. So usually we'll do tabling events leading up to specific events. And again, that's where you could just learn more information about our upcoming events. We also have a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion events that we do. So I believe next Monday, we're doing our career closet. So ahead of our career fairs, you could actually come and get free clothes that have been donated by different employers and people. And then we'll also be doing a career pop-up shop afterwards where employers will be reviewing resumes here, and we'll have some food trucks outside. So mark your calendars for that. That's September 11th from 12 to 3. But yeah, Career Center guidance events, that's where you'll find all of our professional development workshops like this and our diversity and equity inclusion events. So that is events here. And then we'll go to one of the main things of interest, which is where to find jobs and internships. So obviously you're going to go to the jobs tab. You could see everything here. You could source by location. So again, let's say I'm originally from Boston, but then I'm also looking in New York. I could figure out a radius. I could filter whether I want to do on-site or remote. This is also another reason why it's important to complete your Handshake profile, because if you put your major in, it'll show you specific roles that employers are trying to target to certain majors. So making sure to fill that out. And then obviously internship and part-time. And as you can see, we have the job here. They'll give you the application deadline. Sometimes where this apply externally button is, they'll actually have the name and contact information of the recruiter or the internship coordinator. So you could reach out to them and ask about the application, or just get their information so then you could contact them once you've applied and maybe you want to know, about the status of your candidacy later. So that's sometimes on roles. It's not on all roles. But then you'll see the job description. And also, so let's just say for this, or let's do this role because I think Hatchet Group is a little bit more well known here. So if you click on the employer itself, you'll get a general idea of, who they are. But then if you go down here to see students who've worked here, you could actually connect. So let me click see all. You could connect with Fordham alum who have previously worked at the company. And you could just send them a message and say something along the lines of, hi, it's great to connect with a fellow RAM. I'm currently interested in a position at Hatchet Book Group. I'd love to hear your advice on how you kind of got involved for your internship, what your past experiences were, what your major was, etc. Would you be available to connect for like an informal phone call or coffee chat of sorts? Or you could just email and kind of like a pen pal, get back and forth advice. But this is a great way to do networking via Handshake. And that would just be, again, if you go to jobs, you could even go to employers here and do it in the reverse. So if I went to employers, for example, and I did Hatchet Book Group, let's see. Did Hatchet Book Group, you could see that here as well. So students who've worked here. But going back to the job opportunities. So again, let's see if it loads. So if I was interested in this remote AI training for writers internship, I could save it, and then I can go into my saved categories or saved section, and then you could see all of the saved jobs you've had. So super helpful tool. Definitely, go into the job section and start searching around a bit, even if you're not looking for an internship right now, just to familiarize yourself with that. And then I think the last thing I'd like to show you on Handshake here. Well, to start, are there any questions on any of the material I just covered in the sections that we ran through? We're good? Okay, just making sure. I know I'm throwing out a lot of information. But okay, so if you go to Career Center and then resources, this is where you're going to find a lot of our resources that will be helpful for you if you don't want to make an appointment with a career counselor, or if you're looking to do individual professional development work. So I actually am going to go back to my PowerPoint here, because if you go, let's see, new slideshow. Oh, but no, I don't want to do that. So these are just a few of our most popular resources. Ones that I would like to recommend to freshmen are, what can I do with this major? So it sounds exactly like the title. Basically, it helps you if you haven't declared a major yet, maybe inspires you to figure out which major you'd like to declare. It tells you about employers who employ people with that major and ways to best market yourself with that major. So let's say, for example, we want to go to communication, and let's do English. So they'll show you the English major, all the different industries where your major could be applicable. And then let's just do business and industry, for example. They'll show you all the different employers who would hire within that. And then again, strategies to best market yourself when you're on Handshake or LinkedIn or meeting an employer within that industry. So definitely take a peruse through this. Also, I find that what can I do with this major is very helpful when you're on the internship search. Sorry about that. Just because usually students, they don't always know what job titles. They'll know what they're looking for generally, and like they could describe in bullet points or in a few sentences what type of jobs they want, but they don't know how to condense that into a title. Like they don't know to articulate what type of job title that may be. And what can I do with this major is very easy and accessible, and kind of showing you what type of titles you should be looking for and looking at. So that is what can I do with this major. Another one that I really like to show freshmen, this is probably the most important one, so give this a nice big star on this presentation, is Forage. Has anyone here heard of Forage before? No? Okay. So Forage is a virtual work experience, and kind of think of like a virtual internship of sorts. So it brought me right to my courses here, but I want to go to the main page. So let's see if I could do that. Also, they have things like Cheerio, Allison. That's really fun. Oh, hold on. It's not showing me the main page. Let's see. Okay, let's do Explore. Okay, see all job simulations. Let's do that. Okay. So if you were to scroll down, again, basically this is like a virtual internship, except you don't have to apply. There's no competition. You do it completely self-paced and on your own. So let's say, for example, you were interested in back-end engineering at Lyft. You could take this course. You'd have a virtual hiring manager who would give you a task as if you were an intern. You'd complete the task or multiple tasks. They'd compare those tasks against an ideal employee's tasks, give you some sort of grade, and then the course is complete. You could then put that on your resume. You can't put it under your experience section. However, you could put it under your certification section. And what that does is it gives you, well, one, practical knowledge in your field. You'll figure out if that's something you really like, back-end engineering, or if you want to go in a different direction. But it also puts a really impressive company name and an impressive title on your background. So obviously right now as freshmen, you may not be able to get back-end engineering internships, but if you have this on your resume, when you go to apply for roles, they'll see that back-end engineering is on there. And that's a keyword that matches something in their job description, right? So Forge is just, I think, a great opportunity because like I said, again, there's no competition. It's completely self-paced and accessible and free via Handshake. And it's something that you could do multiple courses on here and put all of those on your resume. So that is Forge. And then let me see what else. We also have JobScan, which could be very helpful. And I think this is the last resource I'll show you. Again, I'm sending this presentation afterwards so you could explore and click on all the other resources in your free time. But JobScan is one that I really like to recommend because a lot of students, when they're crafting their first resume to apply for internships and jobs, they don't know that they're trying to craft their resume to be an applicant tracking system or an ATS. Does anyone here know what an applicant tracking system or ATS is? Yeah.
Is it when keywords are scanned?
Yes.
Make sure that they match up with the job description.
Yes, that's absolutely the case. Yeah, so an applicant tracking system, I believe it's 99% of Fortune 500 companies use them. Probably 85% of all companies use them, but that's just my guesstimate. An ATS is a computer software system that will parse your resume for keywords and phrases that are also included in the job description. And you could have a synonym on your resume to a word that's on the job description, but if it doesn't match, it won't pick it up. So you have to be very strategic about the types of words you're using and how you're kind of crafting your resume to meet the demands of the job description. So something that's cool that JobScan does is that I think you get 5 free scans a month through Fordham. You can upload your resume, you can copy and paste the job description, and it'll give you a match rate. So this is right, an 87% match rate that your resume will go past the ATS and actually be seen by the eyes of a recruiter. And then it'll give you tips. These are things that you should add in the in your resume. Hello. Things that you should add in your resume. These are things that you could probably take off that aren't as relevant. So I would say as you start crafting your resume and you want to apply them to, certain opportunities, JobScan is going to be a really great resource for you. So those are just a few of our resources. Again, we have a ton of other resources. Another good one is Big Interview. That's an interviewing site where they have specific practice sets. So you could do like a general interview set. Actually, while I'm explaining it, let me just show you really quick. Let's see if it'll load. Log in. So they have different practice sets on Big Interview, and you could do a general set. So let's just say you want to do a general interview, like if you have a phone screen and they ask, what is your, there we go. And they say, tell me about your resume, walk me through your experiences, what are your strengths and weaknesses, those general questions. They'll have someone that asks you that. And because I'm sharing my screen right now, my webcam isn't available, but you could record your answer over and over and over again to kind of pick up on your strengths and your blind spots. And this is a great practicing tool, especially now where a lot of first stage interviews and sometimes the entire interview process is done virtually. So definitely utilizing this is really great. And if you also go to My Answers, you'll have a catalog of all of your videos saved here. And you could send those to people. So if you want to send them to your parents and get their advice, if you want to send them to a professor or mentor and get their advice, if you want to send them to one of our career counselors and get our advice, you can do that. So that's a really fun resource that we have as well as Big Interview. But I think for now, that is all to cover in terms of Handshake and what you can find on Handshake. I did want to go through some of our upcoming events. So again, we have our career fairs coming up. We have the 2 in September, which I mentioned, the accounting and finance, and then the tech, cybersecurity, computer, and data science fair, very long title. The fall internship fair, that's on October 4th. I would put a big star next to that you should all attend. And then we have our government law and public service fair on the 26th, I believe. And again, like I said, we have the career closet and pop-up shop. That will be next week on the 11th. And let me just admit this person here. There we go. There we go. Obviously, you're here for our first workshop in this series. We're going to be having other workshops. We'll have first year resumes September 18th with our Fordham Career Ambassadors, which I'll get to in the next slide. And they'll be kind of telling you best tips and tricks on how to, create your first year resume. And let's see. Oh, actually, I'm glad I came across this slide because it brings me to a very good point. This is probably going to be your most important resource as a freshman, and I don't know how I forgot it. But if you go again to Career Center Resources and you were to type in Share Drive, you're going to have access to this link, which will give you access to our Share Drive. And there's actually a folder in here for sample resume templates. And all of these templates are ATS friendly, which means that they're formats that are accepted by applicant tracking systems. So I think there is a freshman, oh, here it is behind my screen here, first year resume template. So what I would say is you can make a copy of this, copy and paste it in your own Google Doc, and you'll have an idea of how to kind of write your resume. And then we also have that for cover letters as well. So again, this is the Share Drive, and you could find that in Handshake Resources too. Then finally, going back to the presentation here, sorry, I keep skipping back and forth. We also have a career exploration seminar. So that starts on the 20th. I know that there are limited spots left in the career exploration seminar. It's actually headed by Sharita Robson, who some of you met when you walked in, but she's our senior associate director here. And it's a class that kind of teaches you everything about your career development. So you'll, make your first resume in that workshop. You'll attend career fairs for that workshop for that seminar. It's a great class that will really help you grow professionally and teach you how to, conquer the internship and job search once you come to that. So if you are interested, this is the CRN. You could also speak to Sharita Robson afterwards. I could guide you to her if she's not in a meeting, and she can answer any questions you have about that. Finally, this is a fun way. Oh, do you need to take a picture? Yeah, take a picture, take a picture. Everyone online, take a screenshot if you haven't yet. Everyone's taking a picture here. We all got pictures? Okay, perfect. So that's a career exploration seminar. And then finally, if you're interested in getting involved in our office, we actually have a program called the Fordham Career Ambassadors, or the FCAs. So the Fordham Career Ambassadors are a group of students who serve as a bridge between, obviously, our office and the student body, and they do a lot of peer-to-peer development, career development. So they'll help us in doing resume reviews. So they'll review other students' resumes. They'll assist us at career fairs and our other big events. And it's a great way to build a sense of community, get familiar with our office, but then also get the behind the scenes of kind of what we do. You'll have first access to employers, first access to our staff. So it's definitely a great program to get involved with. I put the QR code up here if you all want to scan it and apply later. You could also, if you go to Handshake Jobs and then Fordham Career Ambassadors RH, so Rose Hill, find this there as well. But we'd love to have you if possible. So that is our Fordham Career Ambassador program. And then again, so wrapping this all up, steps for success in your first year. You want to create your Handshake account. You want to complete your profile. A completed profile is 5 times more likely to be viewed by a recruiter and hiring manager. So super important to get that done. Scheduling an appointment with a career counselor. If you are interested in looking for an internship soon for the spring or the summer, or you are interested in attending one of our career fairs, we'd love to help you get there by either reviewing your resume or giving you networking tips, etc. So you can schedule an appointment with via Handshake. Explore all of our resources. Again, I'm going to be sending this presentation out, so you could explore some of the ones that I had on that page, even though I went through a few. And finally, joining student organizations and clubs based on your interests and skills. It may be hard to find an internship right now in your first year, or even just your first semester of being a freshman. I won't say first year because spring is always possible. But right now, a great way for you to gain relevant skills to put on your resume is by joining clubs and getting involved on events on campus. So I think that is all for now. These are our locations, our phone numbers. Feel free to take a picture. However, you could also find this on the Fordham website. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen really quickly here. and open it up to any questions that we have either in person or online. Yes.
How do we book an appointment with a career counselor?
Yeah, so the way you book an appointment with a career counselor is actually, let me share my screen again. Hold on. Let me exit out of this. Oh, there we go. Okay, so if you go to Handshake, Career Center, and appointments, yep, and then you just say schedule a new appointment, and you could indicate which one, and you could also, like, if you have a specific thing on your resume you want to cover, once you actually go and like schedule something with a specific counselor, which again, let's just show you how to do. So I go back here. Yeah, let's say I want to schedule something on September 13th. So I want to schedule something with either myself or Jerry. You could specify further, like this is the specific thing that I want to focus on. And if you want, you have our email after you set up this appointment. So you could even email us those documents beforehand if it's a document you want to review, and we could take a look at it before so we know exactly what we want to talk about with you in the session. So that's a good question. Yes.
You guys do walk-ins as well, or?
We do drop-in visits. I will say, because especially right now at the time of year it is, and we have so many career fairs and events going on, a lot of the times our schedules are very booked right now, not just with appointments, but with events. So drop-ins are a little bit harder to take, but we do drop-ins. And I would say like in October and November are the most likely when you'll be able to come and just drop in and see us. But there are lucky moments when you can just drop in and meet with a career counselor and have something open on our calendar. Yeah, but it is possible, to answer your question in short. Any questions online? I did see one question I just want to see in the chat. Could you repeat the event you suggested all freshmen go to? You had said it was later in the fall and it came up when you discussed career fairs. Yes, that's the fall internship fair, which is on October 4th. And again, that's in October, so you have about a month. If you want to prepare a resume, networking questions, etc., we could help you out with that by scheduling an appointment with us or just stopping by and seeing who's here. Anything else? You can even ask more broad career-related questions. I'm happy to answer kind of anything you've got. Yes.
You know how you mentioned you could put your like major in, and what if you can't find your exact major, because international political economy is kind of niche, and
Sure.
sometimes it doesn't, it
You
isn't an option there. So do I pick like, what do I do?
Yeah, so I would say if you have, first of all, if the major exists here at Fordham, it'll probably exist on Handshake. Handshake offers, they account for a broad range of majors that exist at different universities. I believe recently I saw on Handshake, it was International Political Economy and Development, which is basically the major that you have. So you could, even though it's not the exact major title that exists at Fordham, you could feel free to put that because the same opportunities are going to populate for you. That's a good question. Anything else? If there's nothing else, I'll hop off. But I just want to see anyone online. We all good? Okay, great.